You know, it goes back to what we talked about. Nobody's eliminated, but we just really don't have enough to say, this is our suspect, this is our guy, we know, or our gal. We just don't know that. And it's really kind of reckless to report that someone is a suspect when they could very well be a victim. It just, I bring to you, to the media, I plead with you to be careful of what it is we put out there, because we don't have anybody here listed as a suspect, and you could actually be doing some damage to the case, but you could do some damage to that individual too. Social media is kind of an ugly world sometimes.
And how far out have you expanded your search these days?
You know, I would tell you this, look, nothing's off the table. If we get a lead that there's somebody, hey, you've got this over here or over here, we're going, and that will expand and expand and expand. I think the FBI, with their billboards, they're now planning to put those up at every state around here, at all of our neighboring states. So, we use you, the national media, the FBI with their national outreach, to affect that for us. But as far as the actual investigation, naturally the scene is the primary, and we just keep spreading it out as we get more and more leads.
Court TV, Cody Thomas.
Right here, Sheriff.
Yes.
Actually, my question is for Agent Yonke. You know, we saw Savannah Guthrie and her siblings, the family, put out that video last night on Instagram addressing, you know, the tragedy that this is, but also addressing the ransom letter saying they're ready to talk. My question is, did the FBI or any other agency help them craft that message to put out on social media?
Like I said to the previous question, we have an expertise when it comes to kidnappings. And when families want advice, consultation, expertise, we will provide that. But the ultimate decisions on what they say and how they put that out rests with the family itself.
And as far as suspects, I know we haven't identified one, but what type of suspect or suspects do we think we're dealing with here?
At this time, like the sheriff has said, there is no primary suspect identified, so it could run the gamut. So,
KPNX, Troy Hayden.
Are you actively investigating the son-in-law in this case? I know there were reports earlier this week, and you refuted that. You said you haven't eliminated everybody. Have you eliminated him or come close to it, or are you actively looking at him?
We're actively looking at everybody we come across in this case. Everybody. We would be irresponsible if we didn't talk to everybody, the Uber driver, the gardener, the pool person, whoever, everybody. It's so cliche, but everybody's still a suspect in our eyes. That's just how we look at things and think as cops. Does that mean we have a prime suspect? No, and the family has been very cooperative. They've done everything we've asked of them, and we want that relationship to continue. And sometimes people can be mean out there, and that can really harm us and harm our efforts.
Did you find blood anywhere else in the home besides the porch?
The only DNA evidence we got back is on the porch. We prioritize things and we rush things, and those items we put out to a lab to rush it. And even then, it's 2, 3, 4 days. The other items could take 10 days, 20 days, but we saw the importance of that blood. It came back to Nancy.
So it was only there, it wasn't anywhere else in the house?
I don't know that. We processed the house for biological evidence, and we've not gotten anything back.
Newsmax, Sarah Williamson.
Hi there. My question is just piggybacking off our colleagues here about how far this search has gone. When it comes to doorbell cameras, you say technology plays a critical role in this. Have you been actively door knocking the neighbours and businesses and collecting those doorbell cameras? And is there anything that has come up there, and how far is that stretched?
I can't tell you whether things have come up or not, but we have door-to-door. I think we're still doing door-to-door, not just in that neighborhood, but other neighborhoods. Just as leads come in and take us somewhere, we're going to do those things.
Okay, and just to follow up as well in regards to the video that was released by Nancy Guthrie's children last night, just to clarify, that was not coordinated with any law enforcement beforehand, and that you hadn't seen that video before it was released?
The FBI is handling all things with the ransom.
I think the answer was yes, we were there. The media was there. We can help coordinate, provide that consultation, but that is the family's decision of what they film and what they put out.
Fox
So.
10, Justin Loom.
Agent Yonke, this one's for you. Following up on that video that was released yesterday, it said, ultimately any further action is decided on by the family. Since then, have they expressed any more interest and more efforts to try and get in contact with who is behind the ransom letter? And do you have a crisis or any sort of hostage negotiator with your team for that type of situation if it moves forward?
So the two parts of that question I think it's pretty clear. The family wants to be contacted. They know time is of the essence. And if those that may have Nancy are watching this, the family is ready to talk, get proof of life, because there has been no contact after that ransomware note or ransom note went to the media. For your second question, yes, we have crisis negotiators. That is part of our team here locally, along with the personnel we brought in from Quantico, and they will be part of it. But we're not going to go beyond that of any specifics.
Sheriff Nanos, taking down the crime scene perimeter after Monday's investigation and really opening access to that property to everyone else, was that something you would do differently looking back, knowing that federal authorities also conducted a search yesterday? Would you have kept that perimeter up, knowing that?
Monday morning quarterback, I probably would have, but I'll say this. We processed the scene. We got what we thought was complete. My team did that. I have to have all the faith and trust in their abilities and their skills, and I think they went through that pretty well. But because another agency now steps in and wants to assist, we're just like with you, we're an open book. Absolutely. How can we help? One of the things people don't see, I heard your question about, and we left and then others could walk up. When we process a scene and we're done, we return that scene to in this case, the homeowners, the family. And we don't just go march back in there. We call the family again and get permissions to go back to the home. So, yeah, there's, again, Monday morning quarterback, absolutely. I probably could have held off on that. We knew that the FBI, we've worked with them before in a lot of cases, and we felt like they could be of help in this with particularly the forensic analysis we use in a number of things. But at the start of this thing, we weren't sure what we had, and as the day progressed, we realized that there could be more to this, and we started in that. Remember, it was a search and rescue mission the first few hours, and we transitioned that over to a criminal investigation. With that, brought in our partners from the FBI and others.
Have you heard from President Trump
Univision, Claudia
on the
Ramos.
resources?
Univision, Claudia
I was
Ramos.
actually going to ask about that. We saw the message yesterday.
Are you next?
Claudia, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Univision. Following up on that, we saw the message from the president yesterday. Have you personally received any communication from him or
No, and I wouldn't expect that. He too is a busy man, right? And I would say this: we thank him for him opening up his entire law enforcement team was put out yesterday, and we know, I know my local reporters here know. We've always worked well with all of our partners in law enforcement. Maybe it's something unique to Southern Arizona, and the rest of the country doesn't see that, but this isn't new for us. We've done this. Gabby Giffords, I headed up that investigation many years ago, and we worked side by side. Could not have got things done if we weren't with the FBI on that.
And just the other question, this being a border state, have you guys had any communication with Mexican authorities?
I have not. I work closely with the Mexican consulate, as other consulates, being the sheriff, but no, I've not heard from them.
Arizona, Univision, Manres.
Hi, Sheriff. My question is, do you know, as a two-part question, do you know what medication Nancy uses? And have you checked local pharmacies or pharmacies around the state where they've bought, per se, this medication to keep her alive, to keep her healthy, while still look for her?
So we do know what medications, and we have contacted pharmacies, probably need to go back to just make sure that they didn't, maybe we contacted them early on. I know that night, Sunday night, Saturday night, Sunday morning, I know we were doing all the hospital checks, and that check was continuous every hour, going back out. And physically in person, deputies were going to each local area hospital and asking them to check their logs.
My second question here is, I know you're looking for her in Pima County. Are you looking for her across the state now? And if so, if there's a particular area that you're focusing on right now?
Well, we're looking for her everywhere, right? The FBI just made an arrest on a tip that we got that we thought there could be something here. It's statewide. The billboards are going to be out there across the country. We take leads from everywhere, and where those leads take us, we'll get there.
MS Now, Alex Talbot.
Agent Yankee, do you have any reason to believe that Nancy Guthrie may be being held outside of the country? Is that something that you ruled out at this point?
We don't have any of that information. We haven't ruled anything out. Like the sheriff said, we will follow the facts wherever they take us, whether it is outside of the state of Arizona or over the border. We will follow the facts and go there, but we have no indication anything over the Mexican border.
And you mentioned on the ransom note there were details about the Apple Watch and the floodlight.
Yep.
The ransom notes that were sent out to TMZ, KGUN, and KOLD, are they all the same ransom note? Do they contain the same details in each of those individual ransom notes?
The ones that I am tracking and aware of were the same. That went to TMZ also.
News Nation, Brian Enton.
Agent Yankee, sorry, over here.
Yes.
When did the first ransom note arrive? And the reason I ask is because the Apple Watch has been in the news and on social media, and you could see like floodlights on video. So was it before those things were out in the world?
I don't have the specific time frame as I sit here today of what time it came in, but that you are right. Anyone could see a floodlight hanging down, could have seen some of those things. The watch has been talked about, so that timing is tricky, but that's why we're taking it serious no matter what and following the leads on that. But I don't have the time frame that the first note came in as I sit here today. Thank you.
And my follow-up is for the sheriff. In the house, were there any signs that someone tried to clean up or maybe destroy evidence?
I can't talk about the crime scene, so I'll give you another shot, another question.
My other question is, I heard the agents say that it was a joint investigation now. At the other press conference, the FBI said they were assisting. Is it joint now? I mean, are both agencies in charge now?
Look, there's no ego here. We in this part of the country, we'll take anybody's help. It's not about who's in charge. From day one, when we contacted the FBI, they were that gracious to say, whatever you need. And so that's really it. And they're great partners, just as my other local law enforcement brethren. I didn't even have to ask. That's what's really amazing. I haven't had to call anybody. They've called me. Sheriff, what do you need?
Arizona's Family, Brianna Whitney.
Hey, Sheriff. I know you had the crime scene process. You said you went back out there. Your partners wanted to see it. But you guys were actively taking out evidence yesterday. Was there something you missed the first time, or did you get a new piece of information that led you to believe you needed to go back out and take more than you had that first day?
I know that we get information that will come, and this is just any crime scene that we look at. We may go out to a crime scene and think we've got it all, go analyze the evidence, and something comes back and says, hey, did you check this? We're not going to just say, oops, and not go.
So
Absolutely. In this instance, it really was the FBI just wanted to go, hey, can we take a look at it?
Are you worried about that being contaminated at all because there was people in that house?
I'll let the courts worry about that. We will certainly be open to the courts of anything that's been removed from that house, and we follow the rules of laws. We get court orders and go back and reapply for another warrant if need be. All of those things we're very careful of.
Arizona Public Media, Lynn Boyd.
Ellen Boyd over here. In that news release yesterday, there was a report of a trespasser. Has the Guthrie family dealt with any incidents, threats, whether that's trespassing, social media threats, anything of that nature?
I am not aware of any of that. I know that we, as with the case again, we would look at all of the background of calls to those families or their residents and see if there's anything there, or even in that neighborhood. Those things have been looked at. I don't know of anything that was reported in even the last 30 days or 60 days. Nobody's come to me and said, hey, next door you had a burglary.